then
This
I work
meeting is
on
being
projects.
recorded.
And I work on projects that relate to circular economy, sustainability, service design, business development, those kind of topics. Currently, I'm working on, or a big bulk of my time is working on a project on electric aviation, and then on developing sustainability topics. I'm also I don't know what you would call it, maybe a sustainability coordinator for our school, trying to piece together the different things that we are doing in terms of sustainability within our teaching, our research, and in our own operations. So that's what I do. All right. I only see Yanni. I don't see any other faces, but I guess you are there. So just let me know if I am.
Yes, I am here. Hello. Nina,
Hello.
Richard is here. Thank you.
Great. Great to have you all on board. And let's see how this sharing window is not so big, but let's see.
Just short comment. I've started to record this workshop now a couple of times, but I'm not still sure is this recording or not. So
at least I got the message on my earphones that the meeting is being recorded.
okay, yes.
So I guess it would be recorded.
Let's hope the best. But
Yeah.
we are here.
Now, good. And now I'm sharing the presentation. Just maybe a confirmation that that is what is happening. You can see the presentation now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. And it seems that I would still be able to see the chat. So if you have questions, as said, you can put them in the chat, or then just open your microphone. So a couple of words on corporate sustainability and circular economy. And I don't know your level of expertise with respect to these topics beforehand. I understand that some parts of your project run adjacent to sustainability topics, maybe circular economy topics. But some of the material here that I share may be very familiar to you. Maybe some is more new to you. I don't know, because I said I don't know your sort of previous level of exposure to these topics. But bear with me if some of them seem less relevant or more relevant than others. I'll just assume that we are sort of trying to reach a common understanding of the topic, and that's where we're at. Now, maybe you have heard of things like the triple bottom line, or corporate responsibility being about economic responsibility, social responsibility, and environmental responsibility. Well, that is, of course, the case. So in sustainability, we usually consider those three areas or spheres. And that's what the picture on the left is like. That sustainability previously has been a lot about looking at those three things at the same time, with maybe equal importance, as business operations should be not harmful to the environment. They should produce less environmental impacts and more maybe positive impacts. It should create positive impacts for people and the society in general, and it should be economically viable and produce a positive economic impact on the community in which the company operates. But maybe within the few recent years, with discussion about something called the planetary boundaries, which there is scientific research on, there is a specific number of planetary boundaries that we're talking about, and talking about reaching those planetary boundaries, there is maybe a little bit of a shift towards thinking that there are environmental limits that we have to respect as a society, as humankind, that there are certain environmental limits that cannot be crossed, or if we do cross them, then there will be serious consequences in planetary term. So maybe there's a little bit of a shift towards thinking that the well-being of the planet is a prerequisite to be able to think about businesses, about societies. It's not that prominent yet in terms of looking at how businesses view the world, but there is increasing shift towards that direction with the planetary boundaries, and companies are also talking about something called science-based targets for their sustainability work, and science-based targets are in essence based on those planetary boundaries. Now, this is just a cartoon, maybe depicting something that we cannot quite yet see. Well, we lived with COVID for a couple of years, and that was not fun. So we were all hit by the effects of the global pandemic, and we thought that that was really tough on our lives. We had to change the way we live. We had to change the way we work. The way we were able to meet with each other, etc., etc. So COVID really changed the way we work because we had to. There was this global pandemic, and we were all scared about getting sick, and what's going to happen, and how are people going to be treated. So it really did change the way that we organize our lives globally in every single geographic area. But what we don't maybe see yet is the next wave. So, for example, climate change is something that there is a very strong scientific consensus that something like climate change exists. Sorry, my dog is barking because I think there's a delivery at the door. But we are not yet changing our lives. We realize that there is maybe climate change, and it's going to affect our lives, but we haven't really made those changes yet. I'm sure the dog is going to stop barking in a little bit. Okay, sorry about that. In the same way that we did with COVID. So with COVID, we changed our lives, but with climate change, we haven't really changed the way that our economy works, the way that our societies work. And an even bigger thing that we may have to face sooner rather than later is biodiversity collapse, where we also already seeing in certain parts of the world, we're seeing biodiversity decreases, maybe even biodiversity collapse, but we're not yet acting on that. So we're sort of maybe there on that island in the front where we kind of know that these things might be coming, but our economies and our societies and our businesses have not yet adapted to what they need to adapt to, maybe in the same way that we did with COVID. And just a little bit of the idea of what is sustainable business, what is maybe traditional businesses, and what is regenerative businesses. And I think at the best, in most cases, we're now in the middle. In the best case scenarios, we are running sustainable businesses where the businesses, and I'm not saying this is like 100% of the businesses, but maybe like the best of the businesses that are doing corporate responsibility, that are doing circular economy, are somewhere around being sustainable. So companies might be aiming at zero waste. They may be aiming at zero emissions. They may have a target of carbon neutrality, but these targets are like zero level targets. So no waste, no emissions, carbon neutral. They are targets that are aiming at a no harm level, like a zero level. But this is kind of not yet doing anything to restore or regenerate the environment or people in that, for that matter. Towards the left, on the red side of this sort of sustainable area, we have traditional businesses which are based on fossil fuels. Sorry, there's a spelling mistake there. But they create emissions, they create waste, they are wasteful on resources, so they take in more resources, they generate waste, they generate emissions, so they are harmful to the environment. This is the majority of businesses today. And then on the right side, in the green area, we would have regenerative businesses, which would actually have a positive net impact on the environment. And this is the sort of reality today. Most businesses are still on that red area where businesses are thinking of how can we reduce emissions, how can we maybe reduce the amount of waste we generate. Some businesses, the good sustainability champions, maybe are now in the middle where they are at zero waste, zero emissions, carbon neutrality. And we have very few businesses that would now be on the regenerative area. Was there a question, comment? No, I misheard. All right. But that is also from the perspective of people and motivation, then maybe aiming for a zero target is not as motivational as aiming for a positive target. So for a person to be employed by a company that is aiming for a positive net impact, compared to a person who is working for a company that is aiming for a zero impact, it might be more attractive or more motivating to be working for a company that is aiming for a positive impact instead of just like a zero, no harm impact. Now, circular economy is an economic model which takes its sort of operating model from nature and applies that to the economy, to the business, and it is sort of seen as maybe a solution to the ecological crisis. And I have a short 4-minute video there, and I will have to reshare my screen to be able to show the video. And just a second as I try and do that. And I don't. Just a minute. Let's try again. Apparently I have to get the link on my other browser. Just a second. Just a second. So I will. Okay, one more time. I will try a Microsoft. Okay, here we go. And also share audio. Yes, so let's try and watch this video. It's 4 minutes.
Living systems have been around for a few billion years and will be around for many more. In the living world, there's no landfill. Instead, materials flow. One species' waste is another's food, energy is provided by the sun, things grow, then die, and nutrients return to the soil safely. And it works. Yet as humans, we've adopted a linear approach. We take, we make, and we dispose. A new phone comes out, so we ditch the old one. Our washing machine packs up, so we buy another. Each time we do this, we're eating into a finite supply of resources and often producing toxic waste. It simply can't work long term. So what can? If we accept that the living world's cyclical model works, can we change our way of thinking so that we too operate a circular economy. Let's start with the biological cycle. How can our waste build capital rather than reduce it? By rethinking and redesigning products and components, and the packaging they come in, we can create safe and compostable materials that help grow more stuff. As they say in the movies, no resources have been lost in the making of this material. So what about the washing machines, mobile phones, fridges? We know they don't biodegrade. Here, we're talking about another sort of rethink, a way to cycle valuable metals, polymers, and alloys so they maintain their quality and continue to be useful beyond the shelf life of individual products. What if the goods of today became the resources of tomorrow? It makes commercial sense. Instead of the throw away and replace culture we've become used to, we'd adopt a return and renew one, where products and components are designed to be disassembled and regenerated. One solution may be to rethink the way we view ownership. What if we never actually owned our technologies? We simply licensed them from the manufacturers. Now, let's put these two cycles together. Imagine if we could design products to come back to their makers, their technical materials being reused and their biological parts increasing agricultural value. And imagine that these products are made and transported using renewable energy. Here we have a model that builds prosperity long term. And the good news is, there are already companies out there who are beginning to adopt this way of working. But the circular economy isn't about one manufacturer changing one product. It's about all the interconnecting companies that form our infrastructure and economy coming together. It's about energy. It's about rethinking the operating system itself. We have a fantastic opportunity to open new perspectives and new horizons. Instead of remaining trapped in the frustrations of the present, with creativity and innovation, we really can rethink and redesign our future.
Okay, I'll go back to, I hope that worked. At least nobody said it didn't work. So
Yes,
let's
it
go
worked.
back. Good. Let's go back to the PowerPoint. There we go. So that explained the basics of the circular economy. So what we're looking at is a current system where we have overconsumption of natural resources. Then we have a lot of disposable consumption. I think there was a study made in the US about the amount of products and goods and products that a person typically buys, of how many of them are, or which percentage of them are still in use 3 months after the purchase, and the percentage is close to 1%. So 99% is thrown away. And I think in certain parts of the world, like a lot of the European or American electronics, textiles end up in countries like China, certain countries in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America for their disposal, which is like we're exporting hazardous waste to countries which were not producing that waste, which I think is really quite unfair. But anyway, we have overconsumption, we have disposable consumption, which is causing climate change, biodiversity loss, pollution, all sorts of different problems, also social problems, importantly. But the solution could be circular economy, which is a new economic model which looks at sustainable use of resources and also social equity. So if previously, like in the video, we would have this linear model where we take raw materials, we manufacture something, we use it for a little bit, a very little bit, then we landfill it, and then we do the whole thing again. Instead, we would create a circular system for products and services, or servitizing the product business maybe, where we redesign, reproduce, reuse, and recycle products or components of products, and turn this into an economic model, which means that companies would need to rethink the way that they operate. So how are they just selling products, or are they selling services or access to products? It means that you sort of take the operating model from the natural model. Everything circulates, the raw materials circulate, the products circulate. Waste would not be regarded as waste, but it would be regarded as a valuable raw material. In fact, already now, if you think about it, some of the rare earth metals that we read about also in the news almost on a daily basis, there is a fight over certain rare earth minerals and materials and metals. The density of those in a modern landfill is probably higher than it is in a like a mining site, because there's so much of those materials in those products that are in the landfills, and then we regenerate nature. Going from a linear model to a circular model, especially in the world of business, or from the perspective of the world of business, does mean that people's jobs and people's work will also change. And circular economy definitely is a business model already. And there are companies that already work according to circular economy principles. These are some of the business models that we see within circular economy businesses. And I will shortly go through these. Product as a service, lifetime extension, sharing platforms, renewability, resource efficiency, and recycling, and enabling. And we'll look at these a little bit more. Product as a service simply means that instead of selling products that a person would buy for themselves, the company would instead sell access to the product through a service model. So a person doesn't need to own all of the things. For example, well, the saw is in this picture, but a car or some specific equipment or an evening gown, a person can simply loan those. You might have seen, of course, car sharing platforms are quite common, but you can also rent an evening gown. You can even rent artwork for your home. So you don't need to own stuff. You can loan them for the period of time that you need them, which reduces the need for the overall amount of those products. The good thing about product as a service business models is also that the manufacturer has an incentive to make those products more long lasting, because there will be more people using them. So there will be more use times and more use cases. Then the products need to be a little bit more sturdy, and they need to last longer. So the manufacturers would have an incentive to actually make those products last longer. But making products last longer is a new business model, a circular business model in and of itself, product life extension. So the manufacturer would think of different ways to extend the life of the product. The example here is an invention which is like a textile correction patch. So, any of you have kids, you know that the kids' clothes, the knees will always be broken, or the shoulders or the elbows from the children's clothing will be broken. And you don't need to buy a whole new pair of pants or shirt. You can just fix that part. And maybe not all of us are so comfortable with sewing. So this is like a plaster patch for the clothes. So you can just use this patch to fix the jeans or the shirt, and then the product will last longer. Another business model is resource efficiency and recycling, where you can pay special attention to the usage of resources so that they are efficient, or using waste as a raw material for something else. And the picture here is a beer that is being made out of bread, waste bread from the supermarkets. So the supermarkets don't sell all of their bread, and the waste from the supermarkets is used to make this, used as a raw material for this specific beer brand. Then there are sharing platforms. You probably have visited Airbnb sometimes, or Uber or similar platforms. So a platform model which enables the shared use of the resources. This is just one example of a leftover food sharing platform from Finland. Circular economy is really, if this on the right, this sort of inverted pyramid here is sort of the waste hierarchy. At the bottom, we have landfill, which is throwing away, which we try to avoid. It should be the last resort. Landfill should be the absolute last option for anything. Then next to that is energy use, which basically just means burning up waste. So we have waste incineration plants actually quite close to where I live. So that is an option, because at the moment we cannot 100% use our waste, but we can use a lot of it, but there will be some left over, and that is used for energy, but that should also be minimized. So we really should be concentrating on the efficient collection and sorting, so we actually get the stuff back from the consumers. Remanufacturing and recycling, so we remanufacture the waste that is collected into something else. Then something else is also repair and update, because a lot of the times the products themselves are not, they can still be used, but maybe it's unfashionable, or the color is wrong, or the logo is wrong. So you can just repair and update, or maybe repair part of the product, but you don't need to repair the entire product. Maybe there's a little part of or module of the product that needs to be updated instead of the whole computer, for example. Reuse and resale means actually reusing the product as it is without remanufacturing. So if it's a glass bottle, we reuse it as a glass bottle after washing. Reduce means reducing the amount of waste of products altogether, redesigning products, and rethinking the way that we consume and produce. Redesign is important because 80% of a product's, roughly, according to different studies, about 80% of a product's environmental impact is designed or decided in the design phase. The